Okay, joining me now is Mario Oliveira. He just decided on his own to call in, listening to what happened yesterday in New York City and that wake, and that Biden and Obama and Clinton deliberately avoided the wake and held a very glitzy, star-studded fundraiser instead, while the city was mourning the murder of a 31-year-old slain police officer, a husband, and a father. Mario Oliveira is a former police officer himself. He was badly wounded in the line of duty. In fact, he is very lucky to be alive. He is a survivor, and he is part of a New England, in fact, a leader of a New England organization dedicated to police survivors, law enforcement who have survived shootings or being wounded or attacks while on the job, and to give them the compensation and the justice that they deserve. Mario, you're always welcome on the Kuhner Report. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff. Thank you for having me on the show this morning.
Mario, I've got to ask you, what did you make of what happened yesterday? Jonathan Diller killed in the line of duty, a grieving widow, a 1-year-old son, Ryan. Trump shows up at the wake. Biden, Obama, Bill Clinton go to the other side of town, Radio City Hall, and literally they're eating, drinking, partying, and fundraising.
Well, I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. I'm really not. It's a tragedy. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't have never happened. But sadly, because of Democratic failed policies all over the nation, frankly, not just here in New England or New York, it's all over the country, and it's going to continue to happen. And, I stand with my brother who represents the police in New York, who refused politicians in these events. That's what I urge my unions, my police families out there. If we lose a brother or sister in blue, do not allow these cowards into our events when we honor the fallen so they can have their 5 minutes of fame at our cost. It's funny, Jeff. There's a lot of these politicians request and require a police detail for their protection. And we are always there for them to keep them safe from harm, from criminals who may want to, cause bodily injury or harm to them, or death even. Yet, when we die, they don't have the common decency to show up and grieve with the family and show their compassion that they support us. They need us when they want us, and then when it's not, advantageous for them or for their ideas and whatnot, they just cast us away like we're nothing. And that bothers me.
Mario, I'm just curious, in terms of your organization, tell the audience, please, where can they go find out more information? And very quickly, because we're up against a hard break, how hard is it for police officers like you and others who are badly wounded in the line of duty? I know Officer Diller was killed, but, if you're badly wounded in the line of duty, how hard is it to get compensation, to get, your salary or to be paid so that you can continue to provide for yourself and your family?
Glad you asked that question, Jeff. So it's twofold. I represent two separate entities, two organizations. Concerns of Police Survivors deals with line of duty deaths. So these are families that we deal with who have lost a loved one in the line of duty. We help them get compensation, like you mentioned earlier, line of duty death benefits, which they justly deserve, albeit the government could never pay them enough money to ever bring their loved one back. That's fact. Okay? We also help them with peer counseling, peer support, and we have other families who have lost a loved one in the line of duty who can, help them.
Let's go right back very quickly to Mario Oliveira. Mario, You're saying you really head up two organizations here based in New England for law enforcement. One deals with the family members of those police officers who have been killed or badly wounded in the line of duty. Please pick up where you left off.
Yeah, so COPS represents the survivors of fallen officers, officers who die and pay the ultimate sacrifice, who get killed in the line of duty. The other organization is called VIPO, Violently Injured Police Officers Organization. That organization represents those that are catastrophically injured and could never go back and do the work of a police officer again. And I started this organization because of what happened to me personally. And as you mentioned when you first brought me on, I was shot 6 times in the line of duty back in 2010. Nearly lost my life. I died 3 times in the hospital that night. And by the grace of God, I survived. Now, what a lot of people, the public, don't know is when an officer dies, there are benefits that are afforded to their families, thankfully. Again, I'll say it again, repeatedly. Albeit, no money is ever enough to bring a loved one back, okay? A father, a son, brother, uncle, what have you, all right? When you get catastrophically injured in the line of duty, the officer gets 72% accidental disability. So essentially, they get a little bit more than half of their pay. And then they're capped at what they can earn. So if they do get better, somehow miraculously, and they want to go out and be productive members of society, they can't even earn to take care of their own families. Some of these folks have lost limbs, they're wheelchair bound, they have traumatic brain injury. It's a host of injuries that I've seen. And they live less than a normal life, and they can't provide for their families. So this organization that I founded, we drafted legislation that I eventually got, and what the legislation calls for is 100% of the officer's pay, tax-free, until they reach the age of 65, and they can have unlimited earnings in the private sector. So that way they can give back to the community and be productive members of society. That alone will heal these people. Let them feel real again. Let them feel human again. Their careers got ripped out from underneath them at no fault of their own. Why are we punishing these people for doing the job that most don't have the courage to do? Right? It only makes sense. But sadly, a lot of the public, they have no idea. They think cops are compensated very, very well when they get injured. It's the complete opposite. And I'm trying to change that law here in Massachusetts.
I'm with you, Mario. I'm with you all the way. Mario, before I let you go, I've got to ask you one final question. What do you make of President Trump? In fact, this is what a texter sent to me. This is Vince. He lives in Florida now, but he's a big fan of the show. Used to actually work at iHeart as a salesperson before he went down to Florida. Actually, he's back with iHeart as a salesperson, but he's working down there as opposed to working here. But anyway, Vince sent this text to me, and I want to get your take. Vince said, Jeff, by far and away, Trump is the better man and the better human being than Biden. Not only did he fly from Florida all the way to New York to be at that wake and spend hours with the grieving widow, that poor son Ryan, all of those grieving, mourning police officers. Not only did he write a big check, Tunnels to Towers, which then used that check to pay off the entire mortgage for that, the poor grieving widow, Stephanie Diller and her young son Ryan. But then he goes, what people don't know is he had prior commitments. And so when everything was said and done, he went back on his plane and flew all the way back to Florida to go and attend an event. In other words, this was an exhausting, grueling day for Trump that he so went out of his way to go to that wake, to pay his respects. And then you got Joe Biden, who's in the city to a fundraiser with Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, and there's Stephen Colbert and a who's who from Hollywood. And apparently Joe Biden hasn't even called the widow, Stephanie. They haven't sent her a note, and even an email, a text message. Nothing. So I've got to ask you, I don't want to put you on the spot because I know you're a nonpartisan guy. I know you want police to be above politics, and I agree with you. But I've got to ask you point blank, when you look at what Trump did compared to Biden, is Trump the better man?
I'll tell you this. This is just based on what I've heard over the years, and I've obviously researched and fact-checked it. President Trump has on many occasions went out of his way randomly to help those that are less fortunate. I know he's helped some homeless people when he was out and about, wherever it was. I think I read an article about it. He's very generous, and he's thoughtful. And he goes out of his way, just like in this case, to set things aside, to prioritize what he believes is important. And clearly, President Trump loves and honors the police in this country. We are the guardians of our communities. Without us, it's chaos and mayhem. I don't know what these Democratic politician leaders are thinking, because without us, they're nothing, and they will be nothing. Rest assured, the inmates will take control of the asylum once we're gone. And that's what I fear, is you keep kicking the cops to the curb and keep vilifying us and making us look like the bad guys all the time. This is why we're in the state that we're in. A lot of young folks do not want to become cops anymore. There's nothing in it for them. You make an arrest, you make a decision, and you are automatically guilty without any type of an investigation going on. And who the hell would want to do the job? You get injured, you get nothing. You get killed, people don't even come the people and request you, they don't even have the courtesy to come and mourn with your family. I don't know. I'm really speechless, to be honest with you.
Mario, before I let you go, can you give out a web address somewhere where people can go and get more informed and maybe even help donate or help push these causes that are so very dear to you and dear to me?
Absolutely. So for New England Concerns of Police Survivors, it's necops.org. There's a donate button.
necops.org. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, necops.org.
That is to help and support the families of our fallen officers, and I greatly appreciate anybody that would consider helping our cause. The monies go right to the families, and we hold events to bring them all together and help them rebuild their shattered lives. The other organization, VIPO, it's vipo911.org. You can read a little bit more about me and my mission. I'm trying to get my legislation passed in every state in this country. I've been successful so far in 2 states, Kentucky and in Oklahoma, and it's on the verge of passing in New Hampshire. So my vision is to get my bill passed, a sweeping motion across the country to give officers protections. I want to thank you, all your listeners, and I wish them all a happy Easter, and to you, Jeff, as well, and God bless.
God bless you, Mario. Vipo911.org, Vipo911.org, or necops.org, necops.org. Mario, you're an incredible man. You're a great patriot, a dear friend of mine. I want to wish you and your wonderful family a happy, blessed Easter. God bless you, Mario. Keep up the good fight, my friend.